Hey everybody, it's Joe here with another Moohin interviews. I'm here with the very handsome Mr. Scott Eddy, at Mr. Scott Eddy on Twitter if you're following, at Mr. Scott Eddy. So, Scott, you're an entrepreneur, you're a business travel blogger. What is it you do? Can you introduce yourself, please?
Well, you know, a lot of people think that I'm a travel blogger or something like that because the majority of my tweets are about travel. Mm-hmm. But it's a complete misconception. I actually, you know, I'm from Miami, but I've lived overseas since '99.
Sure.
And me tweeting about Thailand, coming from an American perspective, and if I put a hashtag Thailand travel, because it's travel for me, because
Sure.
I wasn't born here. So that automatically gave me a huge travel following.
Sure.
And then, you know, I was here through 2006 when they did the coup with Texan. And then I left because it was kind of a headache a few months after that. And I went to Spain. And I lived
Sure.
in Barcelona for 3 years. So then you get a lot of tweeting from Spain.
Okay.
And then I was in Ibiza for a little bit, and Marbella, and London. So, you know, living on 3 different continents, constantly tweeting about, you know, what industry has the commonality
Sure.
of everything, and it's tourism and travel.
Okay.
So that just happens to be my largest following and my largest, you know, content aggregation.
Sure.
So, you know,
So-
I keep it rolling.
People who don't know what tweeting and Twitter, these are the social media platforms where you are able to connect with very large audience. Is that correct? How large is your audience right now?
I have just over 435,000.
Oh my God, wow, that's a lot of people. So you've got this huge audience that knows you from being all over the world, in Spain and Thailand and America. So what kind of things, topics, if you say you're not a travel blogger or whatever, what do you do exactly? What is your tweeting about? Like what kind of things are you interested in sharing?
My top 3 topics that I talk about is definitely anything having to do with entrepreneurs and startups. But my main one would be travel and tourism and luxury travel and things like that.
Okay.
Just because I love connecting with travelers, with travel bloggers, with people that are nomads and wanderlusters or whatever it is, because those people, they have a lot of energy. Mm-hmm. They float from country to country. They travel a lot.
Sure.
They're connected with people all over the world.
The go-getters.
And for me, I'm a power connector. I
Sure.
want to meet as many new people as I possibly can every single
Sure.
day of the week.
Okay, and how do you do that when you're meeting new people and you're a power connector? What about old media versus new media? How do you connect with people? What's like an efficient way for you to connect?
Old media you can take and throw it in the garbage because it's meaningless.
Yeah.
Because if your website isn't perfectly viewable on a tablet, on a mobile phone, on
Sure.
you know, everything like that, you're dead in the water. If you don't have an app in the next 2 years, you're dead in the water.
Sure.
You know, this is what makes our life easy.
Sure.
A lot of people think it complicates it, but if you look at it in the grand scheme of things, it actually simplifies your life. You know, so Twitter, I feel, is the most impactful social platform.
Mm-hmm.
Facebook is great, but it's not immediate.
Sure.
You know, you find somebody who you're in common with, you send them a friend request, you have to wait, they may or may not accept you, they may or may not have their privacy settings.
Sure.
You know, on Twitter, 80% of the profiles are open.
Sure.
So I can see what you tweet about, what you like, how you talk, how you just everything. So I know if we have that commonality right away.
So you are the new media, it's instantaneous. People aren't necessarily going to old media, not even the sites. How many people would you say get their news from like a Twitter feed or your feed or something like a Facebook feed versus going to the old media or even their site?
Well, it depends on what demographic you're looking at, but take for instance today, about 3 hours ago I was sitting in a coffee shop and
Sure.
I saw a Bangkok Post newspaper sitting on the counter. It was the first time I'd picked up a newspaper in a year and a half.
Isn't that amazing?
A year and a half. So I can promise you in the next 5, 10, 15 years, it's just going to be non-existent.
Sure.
It's like flushing money down the toilet. Why would you pay for print advertising?
Exactly. So, how did you get into this new media, the social media? How did you make this bridge from traditional business into what you're doing now?
You know, I've always been a natural networker. You know, for me, you can take every penny that I have in the bank, but you can never take my connections.
Sure.
It's so much more precious, you know, having these people, never burning bridges like this. And I like meeting people from all over the world.
Sure.
I like, you know, having contacts in all over the world, which again leads back to the travelers and the tourism industry.
Sure.
And then, you know, you just never know what could come out of it. You never know what kind of businesses, opportunities, you know, just brainstorming. Things come up all the time.
Sure. So, what do you think the future of, you know, it's so hard to predict how the social media is going to evolve, right? Okay, 5-10 years ago, was there a Twitter, was there a Facebook as impactful as it is today? Is there any way you can predict, being in the industry as you are, what do you think the next step is, or what do you think is going to happen?
I think that trying to predict what's going to happen in the next 6 months in the digital industry, you have better odds of playing the lottery.
There's no way.
The bottom line is, Facebook came out in 2004. Look where we are. 10 years later. Twitter came out in 2006. Look where we are. It's unbelievable.
Sure.
They cut the TVs off during the protests here, during the coup in Thailand. And what happens? Everybody gets their news sources online.
Sure.
And even with the news channels being there, they still get their news there. But now you're having this whole new crowd that doesn't normally get their news there, focusing on social media every single day. So I mean, it's the place you need to be.
Sure. That's very interesting that you mentioned that here in Thailand they cut the traditional media off, but the new media was still in place or not?
The new media is still in place?
Twitter,
absolutely.
Facebook was all still there.
Absolutely.
So what do you think that accomplished, and what do you think at cutting off the old media? Do you see that accomplished much here, and by the government cutting off newspaper and TV?
I don't think it makes a difference.
Yeah.
You know, they cut off the old media, if you will, just for an old way of thinking.
Yeah.
You know, they think if people cannot see CNN and BBC and Bloomberg and things like that, that they're not going to see what's really going on. Whereas every website streams those same videos live.
Sure.
So it contradicts. It's sort of a dumb move, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a chance in hell that they cut the internet.
Okay.
No way.
They'll block a few sites, but cut the whole internet. They'll be rioting in the street. If the Thais can't have their selfie Instagrams, forget it.
Bloodshed overnight. For sure.
So what kind of, you said you love connecting with people on Twitter.
Yes.
What kind of like really cool connections have you made that you would have never been able to make without being able to write on Twitter?
I can probably say that I'm on speaking terms on a weekly or monthly basis with probably the top 20 travel bloggers in the world.
Wow.
Most of them.
Sure.
Definitely the top few travel videographers.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just great people.
Sure.
They're not, you're not dealing with the egos that you would normally have in
banking or anything
it's
like
just
that.
Travel people. They're very open. They're very inspiring people.
Sure. Awesome. And how did you come in to this? I know do you have a background in business where you've been able to streamline and make your Twitter or new media career successful? What kind of background do you come from where this has been so successful?
My background was sort of like, it was kind of dramatic in a horrible way, but having said that, I wouldn't be in the place that I am without it happening.
Sure.
Just in a nutshell, I was raised in a very traditional household.
Mm-hmm.
My father was a police, and I was always taught to be a cop when I grew up.
Yeah.
When I was 18, 3 weeks before I graduated high school, I just turned 18, He was a police detective, and he was flying up to Tallahassee in northern Florida to get a confession from a guy. On the way back, the plane went down and it crashed, and he was killed in the line of duty. It changed my life forever, and it made me not want to be a cop. And after a few months, I got a call saying that they're going to open up an investment banking firm, that I should go to the orientation. And long story short, I ended up going, and I was a stockbroker for 10 years. And
oh my God,
you know, it was a crazy move, and it was the best move that I've ever made, because I was taught how to sell, which is by far the best skill you can have. And I was taught how to network and meet people and make somebody fall in love with you in 30 seconds. Which helps a lot on social media.
Exactly. And how do you do that, Scott? Can you share that with us right now? How are we going to fall in love with you right now?
Please don't fall in love with me.
I'm sure you have enough followers. Out of 435,000, I'm sure if you can do that. Well, anyways, Scott, thank you so much for talking with us today. Sawadee Kab, and thank you very much for sharing us about your, secrets to success and how to make it on Twitter. Thank you very much.
All right,
Have a cup.